It is just a week until Prince Harry ties the knot with his American bride Meghan Markle, and it seems that he isn't the only aristocrat to find love in there. U.S. Frederick Harvey, the Marquis of Bristol, tied the knot with his glamorous American bride in a lavish wedding in London today, watched by his sisters Lady Victoria and Lady Isabella. The 38-year-old, who was educated at Eton and Edinburgh University, married art consultant Meredith Dunn, 36. From Massachusetts, at the Brompton Oratory, South Kensington, in front of their high society guests. Meredith looked every inch the beautiful bride in an elegant ivory gown, featuring lace detailing on the neckline and a full-length veil. Wearing her brunette locks in an updo, she paired her stunning gown with pearl earrings and white stiletto heels. The Massachusetts-born bride is a graduate of the prestigious Barnard College, with annual fees of almost $70,000 and boasting alumni such as Martha Stewart, Cynthia Nixon, and Joan Rivers. Frederick Hervey, the 8th Marquis of Bristol, tied the knot with his glamorous American bride Meredith Dunn in a lavish wedding in London today, and while the bride looked stunning, a rather cheeky page boy, seen left, rather stole the show when he jumped to the foreground of the photo, showcasing a pair of very muddy knees, but the youngster appeared to provide much amusement, leaving a flower girl and the bride herself in fits of giggles. Just like Prince William, the Marquis appears to have decided against a wedding ring. His new bride had a fine band of paved diamonds on her wedding finger and her engagement ring on her right hand. Frederick's new wife Meredith looked every inch the beautiful bride in an elegant ivory gown as she arrived for the ceremony in South Kensington. The groom looked incredibly dapper as he arrived at the Brompton Oratory. Ahead of his wedding, his sister Lady Victoria Hervey looked glamorous in a tight-fitting pink dress as she arrived for the ceremony. Lady Isabella Hervey wore a bright green and pink floral ensemble, complete with matching shoes and handbag. The mother of two, pictured holding her youngest son Patrick, finished the look off with a green fascinator. Meredith was joined by bridesmaids in floor-length pastel blue gowns as she arrived for the ceremony, along with her flower girls and page boys. And while most of the young flower girls and page boys added an angelic touch, one cheeky page boy appeared to have taken a tumble, having dirtied the knees of blue trousers and also foregoing socks showcasing bare ankles. As the couple posed for the first photos as a man and wife, the cheeky page boy leapt to the front of the photo where he pulled a massive grin, rather stealing the show. Ahead of the wedding, bride Meredith was described by friends as being intelligent and sensible and a great asset to his family. Frederick arrived in a tailored morning coat and striped trousers ahead of the wedding this afternoon. Meanwhile, his sister, Lady Victoria, 41, looked glamorous in a tight-fitting pale pink dress and oversized hat. Ahead of the wedding, female guests were spotted arriving in an array of pastel ensembles as they arrived at the venue for the wedding today. Meanwhile, male guests ensured they dressed the part as they turned out in their top hats and tails. The high society wedding today comes ahead of another very high-profile wedding next week, Prince Harry and Meghan's wedding at Windsor Castle. The bride was joined by bridesmaids wearing floor-length blue dresses, along with her flower girls and page boys. Meredith, who went to Barnard, flashed a wide smile as she arrived at the venue ahead of the ceremony today. Donna, who dated Kate Middleton's brother James for 5 years before they went their separate ways, in December, looked stylish in a printed black midi dress as she arrived at the ceremony with new boyfriend Ben Carrington. Lady Victoria, 41, teamed her glamorous frock with an oversized hat and metallic heels. The newlyweds seemed to be in marital bliss as they made their way from the ceremony on Friday. Frederick's other sister, Lady Isabella, seen wearing green fascinator, back left, was also in attendance with her young son, Frederick's nephew Victor. The bride's mother is by her side in pink and one of her sisters is in blue. Far right, the oratory gave the couple a red carpet moment as they exited after exchanging their vows. Frederick looked relaxed as he arrived in his morning coat ahead of the wedding. Victoria Hervey is the 8th Marquis of Bristol. The now 38-year-old was educated at Eton, the same school that Princes William and Harry both attended, before moving on to Edinburgh University. After finishing his undergraduate degree, Frederick spent 7 years living in Estonia, where he managed property investments into emerging Baltics market. He then moved home to London, where he is currently based. The Marquis of Bristol has 2 sisters, Lady Victoria and Lady Isabella Hervey, who became known for being it girls during the 90s. His half-brother, Lord Nicholas Hervey, died aged 36 after taking his own life after battling drugs and depression. Frederick inherited the title following the death of his half-brother John, the 7th Marquis of Bristol, who died at the age of 44, after losing the family seat at Worth House in Suffolk. John is reported to have squandered £30 million on drugs and high living, losing him the family seat, Ickworth House, in Suffolk. His father Victor, the 6th Marquis of Bristol, was known for being a playboy and married 3 times. He also went to jail for jewel theft, and was briefly employed as an arms dealer. Meanwhile, his half-brother John Jermyn squandered £30 million of the family's money on drugs and high living, before losing the family seat. Before his death, John famously claimed that he had slept with 2,000 male prostitutes. Frederick now runs a business called Brick Owner, whereby people with as little as £100 can invest in properties, which will then be looked after by asset managers. Investors will receive monthly dividends and after a year can sell their share. If you own real assets, you can conserve wealth intergenerationally, but as soon as you liquidate those assets and have cash in the bank, that disappears very quickly, he previously told the Mail. I've seen both those things happen in my family, and it's what makes me want to help people own stakes in property. For instance, those who can't afford to get onto the housing ladder. Donna, who confirmed she split with James Middleton in February, looked glamorous as she arrived at the ceremony. Donna, who looked stunning in a bird print dress, was joined by a male friend, with both appearing to be in high spirits. Glamorous bride Meredith wore her brunette locks up in an updo. While sporting a pair of pearl earrings, Meredith looked extremely relaxed as she arrived at the wedding this afternoon and was joined by her younger brother Colby Dunn, left. Before she made her entrance to the ceremony, the bridesmaids looked stunning in floor-length blue gowns, while the flower girls sported white dresses with blue bows. Her bridesmaids were seen helping the flower girls, who were dressed in pretty white frocks while they accessorized their pale blue dresses with the iconic Christian Louboutin heel. given away by the red sold. The bridesmaids appeared to offer advice to the youngest members of the bridal party who seemed to be suffering from last-minute nerves. Upon her arrival, Lady Victoria could be seen greeting members of the groom's party with a friendly kiss. The sister of the groom seemed delighted to be chatting the youngest member of the bridal party. Following the service, Lady Victoria, Right, and her sister Lady Isabella were seen chatting outside the church, with Isabella holding tightly onto her son Patrick. The wedding party arranged on the steps of the oratory to pose for photos. Following this afternoon's service, after some organization from the photographer, the guests assembled for a picture-perfect portrait. Frederick inherited his title from his half-brother John Jermyn, who died aged just 44 after squandering £30 million on drugs and high living. Before his death, he also claimed that he had slept with 2,000 male prostitutes. Meredith now runs her own arts consultancy business in New York. She previously worked as an assistant at the Gagosian Gallery, as well as working at the Salon 94 Gallery. Frederick vowed to rebuild the family fortune, after his half-brother John lost their family seat, Ickworth House in Suffolk. The previous year, the family had suffered another tragedy, with Frederick's half-brother Lord Nicholas taking his own life after a battle with depression. His father Victor, a playboy known as the Reptile, was married 3 times, and went to jail for jewel theft. Meredith is a graduate of Barnard College, and runs her own arts consultancy business in New York. The attentive bridesmaids could be seen holding on to the lengthy train of the bride as she made her way from the church. Guests arrived in their morning coats and stylish frocks ahead of the wedding in Kensington. Guests opted for an array of pastel ensembles as they arrived at the wedding today. One guest opted for a vibrant orange frock as she arrived at the wedding in Kensington. Male guests ensured they looked the part, arriving at the wedding in top hats and tails. One guest was seen wearing a foot brace as she arrived with a friend at the venue. Another guest opted for a vibrant choral ensemble as she arrived at the high society wedding. An elderly guest received assistance from a tentative groomsman upon her arrival at the venue. Fascinators abounded at the ceremony, including a high feather creation, Right, and a champagne-colored match. Right, speaking in an interview with the Mail on Sunday last year, Frederick said, "I don't block out what happened to my family, but I don't dwell on it either. I've tried to take what meaning I can from it and move on with my life. Having 2 brothers who died made me very aware of mortality and how finite life is. And it made me want to work hard to achieve things which make a difference." He added, "Like everyone, I have a last name, and while my title is a bit longer than most people's, it doesn't define me. I'm not burdened by anything. I'm not going to be pressured into doing anything just because it's expected of me. I'm careful to make sure I'm leading my life my way." Frederick has recently launched a new business that allows investors to buy a stake in properties. Frederick's father was Victor, the 6th Marquis of Bristol, who was known for being a playboy. His eldest son, John, died at the age of 44, after losing the family seat Ickworth House in Suffolk. Above, John Jermyn, squandered £30 million on drugs and high living. Before his death, Frederick's half-brother Nicholas, Right, died at age 36 after taking his own life following struggles with drugs and depression. The bride's side, Meredith, far right, is seen here with her siblings, niece, nephew and mother in a Facebook photo. Hamptons regular, Dunn is seen here in 2008 at a party in the Hamptons with Timo Wyland, heiress Amanda Hurst and Catherine Bohannon. Girl About Town, Meredith is shown at left with heiress Amanda Hurst at a 2010 event in New York City. She's shown at right in 2010 at an event in East Hampton with Annie Churchill Albert.